Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. We've got some transfer news for you this morning involving Jesse Lingard. But the first thing we're going to be talking about is that there is a bit of an injury scare in relation to Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, look, I don't know the ins and outs of this, but it certainly was a little bit of a rumour last night that Ronaldo was an injury doubt for the game against Crystal Palace. I've got him in my fantasy Premier League team. I don't want him to not play, obviously for obvious reasons. I want him to play for Manchester United. First of all, I would say that if he is out of this game, I don't think it's anything majorly serious. I mean, look, I saw it on social media last night. How much you pay attention to that is up to you. But I did see Neil Custis in The Sun wrote about it. And again, that is The Sun. But as I've always said, Neil Custis has been covering Manchester United for very many years. And there obviously is some sort of rumour around Ronaldo. And apparently it's when he scored the winner against Arsenal. He did the spin, he got Sue out, and he's hurt his knee. So if this is true, then Ronaldo obviously wouldn't play against Crystal Palace. You would have expected him not to have played against young boys midweek anyway. So a week off until the Norwich game, if it's just a little bit of discomfort, it's probably not a bad idea. It would be a shame because it's Ralf Rangnick's first game. The timing of it wouldn't be great, of course, but I think as long as it's nothing too major, I think that we'll just have to wait and see. We've certainly got options. I mean, I don't think Cavani's quite back yet, but you could play Martial down through the middle. I'd certainly be a strong advocate of giving Martial a chance under Rangnick anyway. You've got Mason Greenwood. Ronaldo's a big loss, but I think that we would still have enough, hopefully, to beat Crystal Palace. But look, it's definitely a rumour out there that Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment is carrying a bit of an injury and might not be available to play against Crystal Palace. So we just have to wait and see with that. But obviously it's very disappointing if it's true. Whether he's done it when he's actually, celebrated, he could have done it when he was sprinting. You just don't know. Mark, just my comments from the match. I thought we played better. You kept relying on Ronaldo and we need to get rid of Aubameyang. Hope Vieira beats the BTEC Schweinsteiger, says Zayn Miasi. Okay. But a little bit bitter there. But look, Zayn, Arsenal are still ahead of us. We've got to go on a winning run, Manchester United, and I think we will start off well against Crystal Palace tomorrow. But yeah, no Cristiano Ronaldo potentially. We have got a lot of attacking options, so I would hope that we've got enough even without him. But hopefully he will play. And I think it's only my opinion. I actually think that. I think that he might play tomorrow because I think it being the first game, Ronaldo will want to play. He knows the atmosphere is going to be good, and you certainly don't. There's no doubt that Ronaldo is going to be a big part of Rangnick's future. I don't think it. I think in some cases you're like, I've got a bit of a knock. I need to play in this game because it's Rangnick's first game, and I want to be part of the journey. I don't. If you're a Fred or you're a Luke Shaw or you're a Harry Maguire, you might be like, I've got a bit of a knock, but I'm going to play because I need to play. It's a new journey, and I don't want to lose my place. Ronaldo, if he's not right tomorrow, he shouldn't play because he will go into that team when he is right. But I think he will want to play, and I suspect he will as well. A lot of people talking about my voice. As you know, last couple of days, not felt particularly great. Really bad runny nose on Thursday. Yesterday, I thought I would turn a corner. This morning, I woke up with razor blade throat. So my voice is... I'm just taking it a bit easy today. I'm going to do Chelsea West Ham watch along on That's Football at 12:30. I was going to do 3 o'clock kickoffs, but I think I'll leave that to try and rest the voice up for tomorrow and, just drink plenty of fluids. But thanks for all your concern. I have gone a little... I'm nowhere near 11, but I have gone... My voice has gone a lot deeper. Mark, any news from Carrington? So curious to how training is going, considering that quote from the other day, says Jacob. So we might get some photos today. I saw it on United Stand Twitter, actually, that we'll probably get some... We'll probably get some photos today of the team training. Obviously had that meeting at 3 o'clock yesterday. Got some quotes on Ralf Rangnick's coaching style, actually, from people who know him. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the second story I want to talk about is Jesse Lingard. So Jesse Lingard to Newcastle is a story this morning. This is coming in actually from The Times, and they're saying that Newcastle are ready to offer a substantial transfer fee for Jesse Lingard despite the short amount of time left on his contract. So Jesse Lingard effectively for Manchester United, I've got a tickly cough as well. Jesse Lingard effectively can leave Manchester United in the summer for absolutely nothing. He can run his contract down, or he can sign a new contract, or he can go, we can sell him in January. Now, the fact that Newcastle want him in January and want to spend money on him, this ticks a lot of boxes for me because ultimately we don't have any other option to get money for Jesse Lingard. The club made a massive mistake in the summer, and basically it's on Ollie, isn't it? And unfortunately, Ollie did it with a lot of players. Oh, man, Mata, you can walk out the door for free. Have a new contract. You've got a future at the club. Has hardly kicked a ball. Matic, could have got rid of him. Hardly kicked a ball. Lingard, oh, stay, I'll give you game time. Hardly had any game time. There's a few players Ollie just kept an inflated squad for some reason, and it cost us 25 million because Lingard, West Ham are having a very good season. If they'd had Lingard, they'd probably be having a better season. So, we should have sold Jesse in the summer. I think he was sold a false promise that he was going to get game time and he didn't get it. So it'd be very interesting what decision he makes in January. I think if you're Newcastle, they're playing a massive game against Burnley. If they lose that, then they're virtually relegated before Christmas. To give themselves any chance, they've got to bring some good players in January, and there aren't going to be many good players available. And Jesse Lingard represents really good value for money for somebody like Newcastle who want to improve that squad very quickly at a time when it's very difficult to do it. Jesse Lingard, because he's only got a few months left on his contract, would be absolutely perfect for Newcastle. So I think the story is true. I think Newcastle do want Jesse Lingard, and I think they'd be willing to probably give us 15 million, which is good money considering he's going for nothing in the summer. So I think United should be all over this. The one thing I would say is, would Jesse Lingard take it? Now, Connor says, what I liked about the press conference was that he mentioned Martial first as a talented player. I love Martial and want him back to his best. Well, we'll talk about Rangnick in a minute, Connor, because he did make some comments. But the thing for me is, I think Jesse Lingard had the opportunity to push for a move to West Ham in the summer and chose to stay at United because United or Solskjaer said to Jesse, you'll get chances. Now, he didn't get chances and he was ready to go again, but we've now got a new manager, and I think Jesse might fall into the trap again of, I've got a chance under a new manager. I think United need to be quite clear. Either sign the contract now or go in January when we can get some money for you. You're not having another 5 months to hang about and see if you can get your place in the team because, we need a decision now. So the decision's going to be with Jesse. Now, look, if Rangnick picks Jesse in the next 4 games, then Lingard's probably going to sign a new contract and think he's got a future at United. I think with Jesse, I was thinking about this before, it's like, I think he should go. I don't think he's ever going to be a Man United first team player, and I think he's better than being a United bench player because we've seen what he can do at West Ham. He can be a first team player. He won Player of the Month in the Premier League last season for West Ham, so he should want to play first team football. He obviously loves being called up for England, so why jeopardise that hanging around with Manchester United? And look, there's plenty of analogies. There's a rude one, but it's early in the morning, so I'm not going to use it. It's about being in the bedroom and wanting to do something with your partner who will only let you do it on your birthday. It's not going to happen very often, and it's a bit like that for Jesse. He wants to play for Manchester United, but it's not going to happen very often. It's great when it does, but they're not going to let you do it every day. And, a more clean version, and that was clean, I didn't allude what it was. It could have been painting the bedroom. But if you've ever played FIFA, or you've ever watched me play FIFA, I like to play on ultimate difficulty and I like to win on ultimate difficulty, but I don't win very often. If I drop it down to legendary, I actually win a lot, and it's good fun. And yeah, I'd love to be brilliant at ultimate difficulty, but I'm not, and I'm not brilliant at it. And yes, sometimes I do win, but most of the time I don't. Whereas on legendary, I win a lot more, and I think that's like Jesse Lingard really. He wants to play for Manchester United, which is ultimate difficulty. And sometimes he does and sometimes he wins, but it's not very often and it's not going to be very often. Drop yourself down to legendary, which is West Ham, maybe a Newcastle. You're going to win a lot more, you're going to play a lot more, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. And that's what I would say. I think he's got to go, but it's going to be about what Jesse wants to do. And, the change of manager, if Ollie'd stayed in charge for the whole season, I think Jesse goes, Donny goes, and a couple of others go. But with a new manager, it's a reset, isn't it? Thoughts on Nkunku, very good right back, Leipzig. Very good RB Leipzig camp, says Jay. I know who he is. I mean, funny enough, on FIFA, I've had him before. So I know who he is from playing FIFA, but people will know who he is anyway. I think we've got to be very careful about Lingard loves cave exploration, confirmed, says Mr. X. I think we've got to be very careful about, just being linked to Leipzig players all the time. I mean, Kimmich yesterday, because he was at Leipzig before he went to Bayern. We've had Herder in the midfield, and Nkunku now. There's some interesting quotes I want to read you from Ralf Rangnick anyway, about Ralf Rangnick. But there was one I read earlier on. I can't remember. There's lots of people talking about Rangnick who've worked with him, etc. And One of the ones was about, don't be surprised if there's some real genuine youth development over the next 6 months. He might only be there for the short term, but he will want his legacy. Even if he's only manager for 7 months, he will like to look back in 3 years and say, I was the man who gave that player the chance. Because and it makes sense. You know, some people think, well, he's not going to develop the youth because he's only there for 7 months. But if you know how Rangnick works, he will quite like it in 5 years' time if a Hannibal Mabry or an Elanga or an Ahmad is one of the world's best players and he brought them through over the next 7 months at United. So watch out for that. That was something I picked up on. Just a few quotes from Rangnick I wanted to bring in. He said that I'm sure in the next couple of weeks I'll get to know the city better. It's a lot of traffic, but this is all about Manchester. I mean, look, you know, we'll get to know about Manchester. But he also said, as I said, everybody expects, especially the supporters, but also the players and the coaching staff, to perform in a successful way and to play in a style. To combine those things, I think, is the major target in the next few weeks. He also goes on that. I'm just having a look at some of these quotes. What are good? Yes, I mean, these are the good ones. De Guzman has been speaking about Rangnick, De Guzman, and he said, I don't think you hear his voice in a packed stadium. I mean, this is something we were talking about last night. So he said, I don't think you'll hear his voice in a packed stadium at Old Trafford. He's not loud guy and who screams on the touchline trying to coach during the game. He does his coaching on the training pitch during the week. So, you know, I think we would love to have an animated manager, but maybe we won't get that with Rangnick. Maybe we will. You know, I always prefer an animated coach, you know, when Sir Alex Ferguson was animated. But sometimes being animated means you've lost control as well. I would admit that. Ultimately, I don't really care what they do on the touchline as long as we're playing good football. So it will be interesting to see. Also, this is from the same article with The Athletic. Ralf Rangnick believes a coach's job is less about finding the right tactics than instilling the correct habits and impulses in his players. A system is less about formation and more about state of mind. And I've read a lot about this about Rangnick over the last sort of 10 years, really, that he is very much about the mental side of the game. I mean, there was even something I was reading yesterday about how he's looked at training, you know, players in relation to their, I can't remember the word, I'm never going to get it with my throat, but basically it's about eye movement and how your brain works, to try and analyse that and, you know, focus the brain when they're playing football into certain eye movements, etc. It's, you know, he's very, very deep diving. And this was the quote from The Athletic as well. I know this is meant to be a short-term thing for Ralf as a manager at Manchester United, but I wouldn't be surprised to see more young players coming through the academy and the reserve team, which is very interesting. And at Leipzig, Rangnick experiment. This is from the same article. I read it. At Leipzig, Rangnick experimented with eye-tracking technology and cognitive exercises, recording the players' eye movements in the hope of evaluating and developing their coordination and spatial vision, which is just this is the sort of depth of talent and thought process that we're going to get from this manager. Mr. X says, odds on Van der Beek starting tomorrow. If he doesn't, I hope it's in the midfield too and not in the Bruno role we've seen, says Mr. X. I mean, look, I'm very excited about tomorrow. My main hope is that my throat feels a lot better tomorrow, because I think it's going to be a very exciting watch along. And also, I think that, you know, that team news is going to get put. I personally am going to say that team news is not really going to be like, it's going to be big, but it's not defining. If he did pick Bruno with Fred and Donny, I'd be very excited by that midfield three, but it doesn't mean he's going to do it for the next 6 games. And if he doesn't, and he goes with McTominay and Fred and Bruno, it doesn't mean that Donny's not going to start in 2 or 3 games' time. I think, you know, the whole point about evolution is that, you know, it might be gradual. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. Crazy that Martial's on 250k a week, Mata's on 160k, and Cavani's on 250k. I feel like Ralf is going to take a look at how contracts are given, says Nate H. Well, we didn't develop that point yesterday, but it was a very good point that Ralf Rangnick made in the press conference, and it got picked up on the show last night by, I think it was Darren, that he'd said that when he went to Leipzig, one of the first things he did at Leipzig to help the club grow was stop targeting players on their 3rd and 4th contracts and target players who are on their 1st and 2nd contracts because they're more motivated in their career journey. Well, if you look at United, we have gone a bit top heavy. I mean, Mata must be on his 5th or 6th contract now. Obviously, Cavani is the same. You know, Ronaldo's different. I mean, Ronaldo's a GOAT of the game, so you can understand that. But, you know, I think that got no issue with Varane coming to the club because he's one of the best centre-backs in the world, but he's picked up 2 injuries already, Varane, and that does worry you a little bit. What was the background done, on that? I mean, I still would buy Varane because he's brilliant anyway, but you look at... you look at that... Bloody hell. You look at that Leipzig team, even when Rangnick wasn't there, but a lot of that is built on younger players. Like, most Leipzig players that I can think of are sort of aged between 20 and 26. And I think that model is certainly one that United almost do adhere to anyway. We've got a lot of players like that. So we'll have to wait and see. But we've got to clear some of the deadwood. And going back to Jesse Lingard, I think, I get it. I do get it. He wants to play for Manchester United, and he'll feel that he's good enough to play for United. But we have got to clear some of the players that we've got, and probably need 5, 6, maybe 7 players out of that current first team squad to go. And I'm not talking about the Alangas and the Hannibals and the Amads because they're young players coming through. I'm talking about in the attacking areas. You can't have... Well, Cavani will be gone in the summer, so that's 1. Mata will go, that's 2. Matic is going to need to go, that's 3. So there's 3 gone straight away. You'd hope to get Phil Jones out the door, that's 4. Maybe another of the centre-backs will go, either Bailly or Lindelof, that's 5. You'd look at probably one of your full-backs is going to go, that's 6, whether it's Tellez, Delo or a Shock, maybe Wan-Bissaka, I don't know, or a Shaw, that'd be 6. I can't realistically see in the midfield that McTominay and Fred would leave. Maybe Donny would leave, we'll have to wait and see, that could be 7. Pogba will go, 8. So you're starting to, and then you're not even on the attackers really. And I think either Jesse Lingard, Martial, or both are going to have to move on as well. We're going to have to move on. I would say probably 10 players in the summer, and I think it's realistic when you go through it. One of the goalkeepers as well will have to go. But no, look, Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, all these players that do divide the fan base a little bit at the moment, that they are going to be part of our future, whether you like it or not. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think Fred's shown a lot of potential, really, because he's a very Ralf Rangnick type of player. So, Fred sort of, for me, has moved away from McTominay in the sense that Fred's style of football probably does suit Rangnick more. But I've always said with Fred and McTominay, I don't really have a problem with them being on the bench. I think for the last 20 minutes... certainly in the last 20 minutes, if you're 2-0 up away from home against Man City or a Liverpool and they're going to start chucking balls into your box and stuff like that, Scott McTominay's quite useful for that. If you need a bit of energy off the bench, Fred's quite useful for that. But I just think we need a better first midfield too than those two, and then those two would be, the backups like we had for years under Sir Alex. You had your Wes Browns, you had John O'Shea's, you had your Darren Fletchers. Those sort of players are invaluable. I just feel that with McTominay and Fred that they are those sort of players, the natural starters, and that's why we fail. Grant says Lingard would most likely only take a loan option to Newcastle should they be relegated. He'd be stuck in the Championship. Grant, I think you make a great point there, and I would say that maybe West Ham should be looking at that Lingard thing, because Lingard, will he fancy a year in the Championship? Look, the money they're going to offer him is a big factor. I think he wants or is on 100 grand a week. And you would imagine Newcastle would be looking to give him 150 grand a week. But I don't know. I think we'll have to just wait and see. I think the next 4 weeks is massive for everybody. Anyway, we've got 4 weeks until the start of the January transfer window. I think it's going to be very big for a lot of players. We've mentioned Donny. I think people like Martial, Greenwood, lots of players, and we don't have enough games to rotate massively. We can rotate, but we can't rotate massively because we need to win all of our games now. Young Boys is the only real free hit where you can really rotate a lot of players and give them a bit of game time. Yeah, we've got games that we should win, but when have United ever been that team? So we're going to have to, try and use the Ronaldos as much as we can over the next 8 games. So I think if we hit January and there's certain players who are just not playing, then they're going to have to look to move on. But Newcastle's a risk, of course it is. You'll get good money, but are they going to be in the Championship next year? Do you think Maguire will keep the armband, says it's North? I've been asked this on every single show, and my honest answer is I don't think he should be captain, but I think that's because I don't think he should have been handed it in the first place. He just doesn't strike me as a Manchester United captain. I don't think the club will remove him as the captain, though, because I think ultimately the negativity that would be attached to removing somebody as your club captain would be something that United don't really want, and it could backfire. It could piss people off. It could make Maguire lose confidence. It's a difficult one because I think he will continue as captain because he'll continue to get picked. What I would rather see happen is that maybe he doesn't get picked for a few games and somebody else is the captain, and then he comes back into the team and the captaincy just stays with that person while he focuses on his game. I think Maguire's the old cliche of a player that when you're the captain of Manchester United, I can't remember who said this to me, it was probably about 20 years ago, it could have been my granddad, it could have been in the news, I don't know. Always stuck with me, and I'm sure some of you have things that just stick with you from the game, is that the captain of Manchester United should always be putting in 7 or 8 out of 10. They should always be one of the best players on the pitch. Otherwise, how can you demand the respect of anybody else? Like when Roy Keane used to shout at Gary Neville or one of the centre-backs or Schmeichel, he could always do it from a position of, I am the captain, I am the leader on the pitch, and I am actually playing well. Now, if you look at what Harry Maguire's been like, or some of United's captains over the last 8 years, even Rooney as captain had this problem, but Rooney had the respect because he'd done it in his career. But when Rooney was captain of United, he was coming towards the end of his United career, and he, as many of us remember, some of his performances were not up to scratch. If you are the captain and you're not performing well, how are the players around you going to respect that leadership when you're not playing well? And this is the thing that from 20 years ago, or however long it was, it always sticks with me. If you're a Man United captain, you've got to be consistently playing well. And Maguire's not consistently playing well. He's got to focus on himself before he can focus on the team, and that makes it very, very difficult. And he's not my sort of captain anyway, because when there's incidents and stuff like that, he's just it just doesn't seem to be. I don't know whether he doesn't get it or it's not in his personality, probably more likely, but he just doesn't strike me as a United captain. But I don't see it changing. I mean, I would like it to be Ronaldo, to be honest. I think there was a time when I thought Bruno, but when you've got Cristiano Ronaldo in your team, he should be the captain. He should be the captain. But who else is captain material in that team if it's not Ronaldo? Some might say Bruno, some might say De Gea. To be fair to Harry Maguire, who else is really captain material in that team? Because people will start mentioning people like Rashford. Well, no, he can't be captain. He can't be captain at the moment. So, as much as people don't want Maguire to be captain, he's not a bad choice at the moment in the sense of we don't have loads. Reverse Clouds says, predicting a 4-0 win tomorrow. Can't wait to see the team develop over the next couple of weeks and see United once again, says Reverse Clouds. Well, as I said, I'm really looking forward to watching Chelsea West Ham. You can join me on That's Football YouTube channel for that at 12:30. I'm really looking forward to it because it's the first game I've watched in a long time where I'm like, I hope it's a draw, because that'll help us out. We've got a lot of games coming up over the next few weeks that we can really get some momentum and win, and it makes you look at those people above you thinking if they can drop points, I think we're currently 12 points off the top. By New Year's Day, if we got that down to maybe 6, I mean, it's going to take a lot to do that, but if we can get it down to 7 or 8, if we can be 7 or 8 points off the top by New Year's Day, then that's something to give us a bit of momentum, isn't it? Bit of a ride. But the way it was going, I think we were going to be 20 points off by Christmas. So let's see what we can do. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope Ronaldo is fit for the game tomorrow. If you've tuned in a little bit late, there is a injury scare around Ronaldo that he's got a bit of a knee problem. There's obviously something in it because it's floating around a few different sources, but I expect him to play tomorrow. I think Ronaldo is, he's going to want to play tomorrow, and I think he will. Greg says, I support Liverpool, but I enjoy your content. To be honest, looks a lot of work for this channel. EPL isn't the same with Man United down like this. Good health to you, says Greg. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. A lot of people say that, and I'd love to see a United title race. It could be against bloody Burnley for all I care. But imagine a Man United versus Liverpool genuine title race. It's going to be very difficult to see that in the next 10 years, isn't it? I mean, I don't know whether we'll ever see Man United versus Liverpool in a title race again because you've got Man City and Chelsea and they don't look like they're going to go anywhere. But we will have to wait and see. What's happened to your voice, Marks? Is Krillin. So I've had a cold, then I've had a sore throat, and now it's just... I've got to be careful with it, because the last thing I want to do is lose it, really. Sancho's looking... You know what, Jazim? I'm very happy with Jadon Sancho. I think he's developing very nicely. He's got that consistency now, which mainly has come under Carrick. You know, Carrick did start picking him more regularly, and I think that's really important. You know, when you're a new player, we saw it with Pep and Grealish when he first came to the club. It's really important that he does keep playing games and consistently. I'll never understand why Ollie didn't do it, but I'm interested by that. I mean, I am interested by that. I mean, even this morning I was like, there was another quote from Varane about Ollie, and I don't know. I don't know whether it happened with Mourinho, but it just seems that we're not moving past Ollie. He got sacked 2 weeks ago. I'm almost, I almost wake up in the morning and expect that there's going to be like a statue outside the ground or something. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but we don't seem to be moving on. Like, I suppose the great thing tomorrow is that Rangnick's there. I think because, in fairness, I think it's because Carrick's been there and he was associated to Ollie. But every day there just seems to be a story about Ollie, and I'm not really. I mean, even I'm mentioning it now, but I just can't wait for this new thing to start, because this is what happened with Ollie and Mourinho, is that Mourinho got sacked and it was a big thing because Mourinho's, very big in football. But as soon as we won that first game against Cardiff, and it got forgotten very, very quickly, and that's what United need to do. And I tell you what, I don't think this has been mentioned enough. Let's see how these players perform tomorrow, because in the week there was a lot of rumours coming out, and even Romano said it himself, that the players, even after Ollie had been sacked, felt like nothing had really changed. It was just like Ollie was off sick or something, because it's still the same coaches with the same tactics. Let's see how these players react, because I would not take Villarreal, Chelsea and Arsenal as being much of a change from Ollie. Watch tomorrow, watch Norwich, watch Young Boys, watch Brentford, watch Brighton over the next 3 weeks, and see how different United are. Because if I know football like I think I do, and obviously you, this is where you'll get the bounce. This is where these players will want to show the world that it wasn't us, it was the coach. And it happened with Mourinho. That release from Mourinho under Ollie, the players were just different. And I think that the players will really want to show. I mean, look, 4 points from 21 is just a shambles if you're a footballer. Even Harry Maguire said it's the lowest point of many of their club careers. So that's something that's not being spoken about. It's all about Rangnick this, Rangnick that. But what about the player bounce? I think we're going to get a huge player bounce, and I'm really excited about it. So bring it on. Bring it on. Lovely stuff. We are not here to pamper players, but to discipline them. And also, the flip side of that is that I think you've got to focus on the players as well. Under Ollie, the coaching was poor, in my opinion, and that gave an excuse to the players. I think very clearly, when you've got Klopp and Tuchel and everybody else who knows anything about football saying that Rangnick's a brilliant coach, it's fair to say we've got a good coach, and he's respected. So, unfortunately, Ollie was not respected. He wasn't respected in the footballing world. He certainly wasn't respected by rival fans. They were singing Ollie's at the wheel. With Rangnick, he's respected. And, I've had a few Liverpool friends of mine messaging me this week saying, I'm gutted you haven't got Ollie anymore. And I said, yeah, but I remember when you sacked Hodgson, I felt the same. I wanted you to keep Hodgson forever because I knew you were never going to be any good. So, but with a good coach in place, the eyes fall to the players, and what can the players do over the next few weeks, because there's nowhere to hide now. So clean slate, yes, but very analytical on the players on how they perform. They've got to step up to the plate now, and I think they will. I really do. Hope Evra sees DNA tomorrow. Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'm back on That's Football in an hour and a half, so I'm going to go and rest the voice up a little bit, have a bit of honey and lemon. But thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Let's see what happens with Ronaldo. I certainly think Lingard to Newcastle or anywhere would be a good move for him. Do you think we'll win a trophy this year, says It's North? I mean, look, I think in relation to that, it'd be nice to win a trophy, but remember, Rangnick is inheriting a club that's failed. the targets we had at the start of the season were Solskjaer's targets, and he got sacked. To say that Rangnick should win a trophy from this point is unfair. I think we can win a trophy. FA Cup's probably the most realistic, but you might get a really crap draw in the FA Cup. You might get a really good draw all the way to the semi-finals like Man City do. So we'll have to just wait and see. Excellent show, Mark. Great times ahead for us at United under Ralf. Keep up the great work. Cheers from Iceland, says Goodmunda. Thank you very much. I will be on That's Football at 12:30 for Chelsea against West Ham if you want to join me for that. And we have got an 8 o'clock show tonight. Have a very good day, everybody. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. And yeah, very, very excited for the match tomorrow. Speak to you in a bit.